Welcome back to Decked Out.
On today's episode, we are joined by Airball and 𝚉𝙴𝙬𝙺, and we have an exclusive look at the new Commander Masters Precon. Each player has picked their favorite and brought it to the table.
As always, thank you to our sponsors, EDHRec, Ultimate Guard, and now Wizards of the Coast. We are proud members of the MTG Ambassador Program.
Yeah, look, I have a special pin and everything.
Thanks, Wizards and the Ambassador Program. We are now able to make these exclusive early access videos for you, showing off the new sets and precons.
That's enough from us. Let's go ahead and meet the players.
Hi. Hi, I'm 𝚉𝙴𝙬𝙺, a professional cosplayer and Magic the Gathering personality. Today, I'm playing one of the new precons, Xul'Ahdoc, Void Gorger. Its name starts with a Z too. And I hope to play some of the classic Eldrazi hitters that have Annihilator triggers, as well as some new cards like Omarthist, Ghostfire Initiative.
Hi everyone, I'm Airball, and today we are playing Commodore Guff. The Guff Daddy himself rewards us for playing Planeswalkers like Chandra, Jace, Narset, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to put them in play, activate them a bunch of times, defend them with board wipes like Blasphemous Act or Urza's Ruinous Blast, and even sometimes change the rules of the game with cards like the Chain Veil. It's going to be great.
Hello everybody, I'm MTGNerdGirl, and for today's Commander Masters game, I'm playing the Onyxia Hand of Erebos deck. This deck is full of enchantments, and each of them are going to get more and more value as I accumulate more enchantments. I'm even going to be able to bring them back out of the graveyard and get that value a second time.
I'm Veggiewagonyee, and I'm going to be playing Sliver Gravemother. Now, this deck has got all the classic slivers that you know and love, but also some brand new ones with powerful abilities cherry-picked from throughout Magic's history. And Sliver Gravemother's ability is going to turn their biggest weakness, being in the graveyard, into their greatest strength.
Before we get into the gameplay, we'd like to take a minute to thank our patrons. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to bring in cool guests, and we certainly wouldn't be able to feed them. And if you're not a part of the Patreon, but you enjoy our content, make sure to check it out, because you guys can unlock some really cool exclusive perks like signed tokens from the cast and crew, get into some spell table games with us, and even submit deck lists for us to play here on the show.
And of course, you can always support us by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. But that's enough from us. Let's get into the game. Welcome to the table. Let's see who goes first.
5.
9.
3.
12.
Wow.
12.
As always with Veggie mediocrity, takes the day.
Sliver Privilege.
Eldrazi might have something to say about that.
Draw, and I'm going to play a Grasslands tapped. It can fetch a forest or plains. Pass.
The best thing about this deck is it has all colorless lands, so I don't have to worry about which one I play. I'll play Tyrite Sanctum. I can add a colorless, pay 2 to tap and give target legendary creature a god in addition to other types, put a counter on it, and I can pay 4, tap it, sack it to put an indestructible counter on target god. Go ahead.
All right. I'll play this Mystic Monastery tapped. It taps for Jeskai. Go ahead.
I'm going to play a Sandstep Citadel. It'll come into play tapped, and that'll be it.
Sandsteppe. I'm going to sack my grasslands and search for a forest or plains. All right, I'm going to grab this forest. I'm going to play a mountain, and then I'm going to tap 2 for a Felwar Stone, and I'll pass the turn.
Okay, I will draw Mage Ring Network. I can tap to add a colorless, pay 1 and tap it to put a storage counter on Mage Ring Network, and tap it to remove any number of storage counters to add 1 colorless for each storage counter removed this way. But right now, I'm just going to tap it to cast a Soul Ring, and then we're gonna tap 3 mana for a Palladium Mirror. It's a 2/2 creature artifact mirror that taps for 2 colorless as well. Pass turn.
You're with your 7 mana next turn.
Oh.
Yeah, 1, 2, 7.
Yeah.
These were really good draws, like turn 1, turn 2. Super exciting with what I kept.
Can't believe they put Soul Ring in the colorless deck.
All right. I'll play this Command Tower as land for turn and tap 2 for an Izzet Signet and pass.
You guys have better ramp than me, but I do have something that will help me ramp. So I'm going to start with the plains, and we're going to play a Jukai Naturalist. It's a 2/2 with lifelink that allows my enchantments to come into play for 1 less colorless mana. And I'll pass the turn.
Standard Nightmare card.
Standard All-Star.
That's what I said.
Speaking of ramp, I'm going to play the Sunken Hollow that comes in untapped because of my 2 basics. Then I'm going to pay 3 for a Herald's Horn. Creatures of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. I will choose Slivers. At the beginning of my upkeep, I look at the top card. If it's one of those creatures, I put it in my hand. Then I am going to pay 1 for this Mana Weft Sliver. All my Slivers now tap for mana. Pass.
Excellent. I will untap, upkeep, draw. I'm gonna play Bonder's Enclave. It can also tap for a colorless, or I can pay 3 and tap it to draw a card. I can activate this only if I control a creature with power 4 or greater. My commander happens to cost 6. It starts with a Z. It's 𝚉𝙴𝙳𝙺𝙺𝙰𝙼. Yes. It's a 7/4 legendary creature Eldrazi. Colorless spells I cast from my hand with mana value 7 or greater have Cascade. That's my commander. Pass turn.
So we got to kill that, right?
Yes.
Anybody got an answer?
No. I have Slivers. I'm going to play Solitaire over here until I win or lose.
I very don't have an answer. Okay, well, nothing to do but keep on ramping. We're going to tap 3, 4. Honor-Worn Shaku, it's an artifact that taps for colorless mana, and you can also tap an untapped legendary permanent you control to untap it. So your legendary permanents turn into mana dorks.
That's cute.
One of the big problems with Planeswalkers and Commander decks is that you have to play them and then tap out, so you can't protect them in any way. But this Shaku lets me tap them for mana after the fact, so I can play them and defend them at the same time. And we'll immediately use that mana to cast this Anaki Oathkeeper. It's time for a little propaganda. Creatures can't attack Planeswalkers you control unless their controller pays 1 for each creature they control that's attacking a Planeswalker you control. You can also exile it from your graveyard to return a Planeswalker from your graveyard to the battlefield. And now I'll pass.
My land for turn will be a Shine Shadow Snarl.
She shines shadows by the seashore.
Yes. And I think we need to answer the first Eldrazi, which this isn't going to be a great answer. So we'll go ahead and path to exile your Emrakul, exile target creature. You may search.
Or yes.
Damn it.
Eldrazi are taking over. It's
is it?
𝚉𝙁𝙁𝙁, Void Gorger.
So we're going to go ahead and start by exiling 𝚉𝙁𝙁𝙁, and you can search for a basic land.
Thank you. I love ramping even more.
I'm sorry, there's nothing by the name 𝚉𝙁𝙁 in play. It's 𝚉𝙁𝙁, Void Gorger, or nothing else.
Yeah.
I see. Yep. And then we go ahead and tap 1 and cast The Binding of the Titans. It's a saga, and on its first chapter, each player mills 3 cards. Chapter 2, exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards. For each creature exiled this way, I get to gain a life. And Chapter 3, I get to return target creature or land from my graveyard to my hand. So everybody mill 3, please.
Oh, Vanquisher's Banner.
It's that betrays. I like Annihilator too. That's a few mana off.
So no Planeswalkers hit the bin for me.
And Jukai Naturalist is going to come over to Zbex for 2.
I mean, I'll take 2.
And that's going to be the end of my turn.
All right, well, let's start off with one of my favorite slivers. It's Realm Walker. Changeling, so it is all creature types. When it enters, I choose creature type, sliver. I can look at the top card of my library at any time, and I can cast creatures of that type off the top of my library. So let's take a look. Nah. I'll play in Opulent Palace for turn. I will tap 2 for Blade Sliver. All slivers get +1/+0. That's all slivers, so all of your slivers as well.
Thank you.
No problem. I'm here to help. I'm not going to use this extra mana, so I'm going to go to combat and NerdGirl take 2.
Absolutely.
That's sliver damage, and I'll pass.
I'm going to go with an Arcane Lighthouse. It can tap for a colorless, or I can pay 1 and tap it until end of turn. Creatures my opponents control lose Hexproof and Shroud and can't have Hexproof or Shroud. If I have it, I can have it, but you can't. Okay. Oh yes, I will untap my Palladium Mirror because I think recasting my commander sounds like a fine idea. So we will go ahead and do that. We've got 𝚉𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁, Void Gorger, back on the battlefield. Pass the turn.
I do love the commitment to the bit. I appreciate that.
I love Eldrazi. If you didn't know, they're one of my favorite things to cast in Legacy, so I'm very happy to play this deck.
Start by tapping 3 for an Oath of Gideon. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white core ally creature tokens. Each planeswalker I control gets an extra loyalty counter when it ETBs. There are my 2 core allies, and the Honor Warren Shaku effectively lets me tap this Oath of Gideon for mana. So we'll do that, and we'll cast Narset, Parter of Veils, everyone's favorite planeswalker. Opponents can't draw more than 1 card each turn. I can -2 and find a non-creature, non-land card from the top 4 cards in my library. Now Narset, you can usually only activate her twice, because she starts at 5. But because of Oath of Gideon, she's going to come in with 6. So that's 3 total activations if she's left untouched. All right, we'll immediately downtick Narset to look at the top 4 cards in my library.
What's that? AirballMTG on blue planeswalkers?
Say it ain't so.
I mean, I think these decks were a nice wide range because there was like something we were all kind of excited about.
Narset found something that might be kind of nice. I'm going to reveal to you all this Nevin Rawls Disc. ETBs tapped, tap for 1, destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. But that can't happen this turn. I don't have the mana to play it. Instead, we'll play this Temple of Epiphany and scry 1. That one's going to go to the bottom, and I'll pass.
Airball top decking the board clear artifact is just what I needed. Now I can just play Heliod, sit back, let him blow up the board, and then I can establish. I'm going to tick up my Saga, and on chapter 2 I can exile up to 2 cards. If they're creatures, I can gain some life. And you know, I've heard Veggie really likes creatures in his graveyard, so what do you got going over there, my friend?
I have a Cloud Shredder. I have a Cloud Shredder Sliver.
Let's exile that, and Zebex, I think you might have some graveyard shenanigans too. What do you got?
I got It That Betrays.
All right, that looks like a good creature to exile. Let's do it.
Oh, it's gone.
I'll gain 2. All right, for discounted 1 from the Jukai Naturalist, I'm just going to play Heliod, God of the Suns. Legendary 5/6 god with indestructible. As long as my devotion is less than 5, it isn't a creature. Other creatures have vigilance, and I can also pay 4 to create a 2/1 white cleric enchantment creature token. My land for turn is going to be a Selesnya Sanctuary, and I'll return a Plains to my hand. And there's no good targets for me to attack with my Jukai Naturalist, so he's just going to stay home today.
At the beginning of my upkeep, the Herald Torn will trigger. I'm going to take a look at this card. Oh, right. I knew what this was. This does not fit the bill, so then I will just draw. I'm going to tap 2. I'm just going to cycle this Irrigated Farmland to get this card into my hand. And I am going to play a little insurance. I'm going to tap 2 and cast this Hibernation Sliver. All slivers have pay 2 life, return this permanent to its owner's hand. So I can't wait for that Nev's Disc. 7/4. Bunch of little dudes. And Heliod is not a creature yet, right?
Correct.
Okay. I will go to combat and NerdGirl send this 3/3 Realm Walker Sliver to you.
I will take it.
Pass turn.
For my turn, I will start off playing the prettiest waste art. Thank you very much, Kozilek. I know you're not looking at my lands. You've got slivers. You just need creatures.
I like that you found a way to read the basic land too, though.
I do have to
I like the
read
consistency. Yeah.
everything. I just really want to see my commander do its thing before this Nev's Disc hits the battlefield. For 10, I will cast Hangerback Walker. It is an artifact creature construct with 0/0, but it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. X = 5. When it dies, I create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying for each +1/+1 counter on Hangerback Walker. And I can also pay 1 and tap it to put another +1/+1 counter on Hangerback Walker. It does have a colorless converted mana cost of 10 because I chose X = 5. And Cascade is from a cast trigger. So before Hangerback Walker resolves on the battlefield, I'm going to get 2 Cascade triggers. So I've got spells that cost 10 or less. I will have Myriad Construct on the stack. It's an artifact creature construct. It's a 4/4 with kicker 3. If it was kicked, it would enter with a +1/+1 counter on it for each non-basic land my opponents control. And when it becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it and create a number of 1/1 colorless construct artifact creature tokens equal to its power. We are continuing to resolve the second Cascade from Zul'Adok. Void Gorger! We'll just blow past these lands. And hey, we got a Worn Power Stone, which will enter the battlefield tapped, but will allow me to have 2 more colorless mana, and these will go on the bottom in a random order.
You did need some mana.
I did. Little do you know, I did. Don't worry. You're going to thank me.
I doubt it. I really don't think so.
Probably not Airball. Okay. And then I can also attack. And as Veggie pointed out, not a lot gets through without creatures dying, except to NerdGirl.
I'm in danger.
It's just for right now. I'll have much more threats to send other places.
Yeah, once you're dead.
Next turn. No.
It's okay.
Not what I was going to say. I'm just attacking you for 7.
You know what? I think I will just block and gain the 2.
Okay. I will pass.
Okay, sequencing matters. Let's -2 Narset and go digging. Off of this Narset activation, I will reveal Swords to Plowshares, which, helps a little bit, but not a whole lot. We'll tap 4 mana to bring out my commander, Commodore Ain't Taking Guff from Nobody. So 4 mana Planeswalker comes in with 5 loyalty. At the beginning of my end step, I can put a loyalty counter on another Planeswalker I control. Can +1 to make a red wizard that taps for mana to cast Planeswalkers, or I can -3 to draw X, deal X damage to something, where X is the number of Planeswalkers I control. I'll minus Commodore Guff to deal 2, draw 2, because that's the number of Planeswalkers I control, and you'll all take 2.
Oh, it's each opponent.
It is each opponent. I don't get to control where it goes. Don't blame me.
That's not my strategy.
You're like, you take 7, you take 12.
I'll play this Plains for turn. We'll tap it to cast this Wayfarer's Bauble. And sack it to put a basic into play.
These decks ramp very well, not this one.
And we will, using the Horn, tap a bunch of my Planeswalkers for mana. We'll tap 4 total to cast this Nev's Disc. We talked about it earlier. We'll see if it goes off.
Please, I welcome a board wipe at this point. Hibernation Sliver means that I can bring them all right back up to my hand instead of dying, and then the discount from Herald's Horn means they all come right back down in 1 turn.
ETB's tapped though, can't do anything right now. And everything is staying home and protecting the queen. We'll go to my end step, and I will put a loyalty counter onto Narset.
It's just a value Narset.
And I'll pass.
I'm going to untap, and I'm going to Saga goes to 3, which will crack it. I can return a creature or a land from my graveyard to my hand. I'm going to return the Jukai Naturalist back to my hand.
Oh, big brain plays.
Well, I had another creature in there and a land. So, I'm just trying to
Take credit.
hold on.
Big brain plays.
All right, we're going to play a Plains for turn. And, I'm just going to pass.
I'm just going to play right into this disc. Herald's Horn trigger. I'm going to look at this card. Right. I still knew what that card was. It's not a sliver. I'm going to put it in my hand for my draw. I wanted to do more, but I don't think I can. I will play this Path of Ancestry tapped, and I'll at least go to combat and try and get rid of some of those blockers. So maybe if somebody else swings at you for some reason before that Nev's Disc goes off, then it'll be harder to block. Yeah, I'll go to combat. I'm going to swing Realm Walker and Blade Sliver at Commodore Guff.
Okay, will you pay 2?
He's going to take some guff. Yeah, I'm paying 2.
What are their booties like?
Booties, 3, 2.
All right, Oathkeeper is going to block 1, and the 1 core ally is going to block the 2/2.
So ally dies, I don't get any damage through.
Correct.
That's it. Pass turn.
Okay. I will untap and draw.
In Zebex's upkeep, before she draws, I have a question for the table. How dangerous do we think it is that she gets to her main phase with her commander in play? Because if not, I would really like to exile the thing that creates creatures when it dies. But if there's a lot of permanents that we think will dodge the Nev Disc somehow, or value that she'll get off of it, then I'm fine exiling her commander now.
Anything she cascades into would die to the Nev's Disc anyway, right?
Well, unless it's not an artifact, creature, or enchantment.
I'm not worried about the colorless deck having a ton of non-creature, non-artifact.
Agreed.
I think so too. I just wanted to ask, because this is our Swords to Plowshares. It's a communist card. I feel like
Commie Guff, yeah.
Right. Like
I'll get to gain life
Comrade
at the
Guff.
very least.
hammers and sickles to plowshares. Yeah,
I'll benefit off of it too.
that's true. I don't want to give you the life, right?
Yeah. because then I can be not the lowest life total.
Then draw your card. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. My politicking worked. I will play a waste for the turn. I did appreciate you attacking because that got rid of some things that, I mean, I can just get into.
Yeah.
Airball over there, since they're threatening with the Nev's disc, that's going to destroy my board.
And mine. Like, I'm not looking forward to using it either. This artifact is insane.
And now I can also attack you, Veggie, because you don't have blockers that can trade with my Hangerback Walker or my Myriad Construct.
I don't intend to ever trade with your attackers.
You could convince Airball to swords that first before your swing, if you wanted to swing a Veggie.
I mean, if you want to use your swords that way, you can. Would you
Yeah,
like
it seems
to?
like the best way to use your swords.
It really doesn't.
No, it
It was
doesn't.
Nerd Girl's idea, not mine. I'm just playing the politics here.
Well, I was trying to lay an option out there because Veggie's being too smug.
Also, we do notice this, right? Oh, you know what would be a good idea if you wrecked Veggie with this suboptimal play?
Nerd Girl, I attacked you last time and I see you struggling on mana, so I'm not going to attack you this time. I'm going to move to my combat phase. Let's even some things out here. I'm going to send Sul'Adok, Void Gorger,
Thank you.
over to Airball, and Hangerback Walker and Myriad Construct over to...
Also airball.
Well, oh, you do have Planeswalkers. I need to declare...
Yeah, I was going to ask who you were attacking.
Solo Goat.
Solo goat!
He's the goat.
Sul'Adok, Void Gorger is going to go straight at Commodore Guff. And these two creatures are coming at you, Veggie.
Okay. This is going to be a tough question. Are you going to pay 1 for attacking Commodore Guff?
I will.
Okay. I'm going to throw the ally under the bus.
Yeah, I'll block the Hangerback Walker with the Manawef Sliver, and I'll take 4. I will take an additional 2 to return this to my hand.
Okay.
Damage. Airball revealed Nevinral's disc, which would wipe out most of my board. So to save my commander, I could use Tyrite Sanctum with the 2 cycles I'll get around the table, or I could use this card to protect myself. I got tricks. I certainly do. For 3, I'm going to cast Unstable Obelisk. It's an artifact that can tap for colorless, or I can pay 7 and sacrifice it to destroy target permanent.
Uh-oh.
So we don't have to worry about Nevinral's disc. It's just going to be yeeted out of this world into the graveyard.
That's unfortunate for me.
You had a casual 10 mana to drop on a single target removal. That's amazing.
Okay, I'm activating Unstable Obelisk and destroying
Wayfarer's
Nevinral's
Bubble?
disc.
Oh.
That's not how you spell Nevinral's disc. Or pronounce it.
Yeah, no effects. It's gone.
And with that, my friends, I will pass the turn.
Okay. Veggie, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think you're going to help with board states like at all?
Huh? You mean I'll help with my board state. Do you mean, will I hinder other board states?
Yes.
I don't have a ton of plans to do that right now.
Okay.
I think we're on our own for this one. I think it's you and me versus the large insectile creatures.
Yeah, because I don't have a lot of colorless planeswalker removal or enchantment removal either. So I'm not much help if anybody else is thinking they need help against some other deck.
You can't remove planeswalkers, but you can remove players. I feel like that's probably where we're at.
Yes, I didn't say that was a problem.
All right, well, let's get as much information as we can. First things first, let's minus Narset. Go digging.
That's too many times for an Narset.
You know what? I don't think it's enough times. Okay, well, we almost whiffed, but we didn't quite. I'm going to reveal to you all a copy of Blasphemous Act.
No!
It was the only legal hit off of that Narset.
Nice.
At least it doesn't take out all of my mana rocks like
Yeah.
before.
Ooh, so
13.
can you cast that now?
Certainly, because all my planeswalkers tap for mana as well. I can certainly cast it.
I'm running a little bit behind because my opponents have ramped and done a bunch of really early stuff. but I have some powerful things coming out. So if I can just hold back and let Airball blow up the board, then I will be good to go.
So first things first, I'll cast Swords to Plowshares on the walker over there.
Oh, you're not going to let me get the Thopters after the Blasphemous Act?
Absolutely not. Oh, but you can have 5 life.
I will take the 5 life. And I thought I'd get away with it too.
If it weren't for you meddling kids.
And your little dog
Blasphemous
too.
kids.
I'll tap my Narset and Is It Signet for mana, and we'll cast Blasphemous Act. Say sayonara to all the creatures. 13 damage to everything.
For now.
I will pay 6 life, and these are back to my hand.
Thanks, Airball.
When you need a board wipe, you know who to call. All right, I will plus Commodore Guff, and we're going to make a 1/1 red wizard creature token that can tap for mana. There it is. All right, we're going to tap Commodore Guff and a Plains for an Oreskos Explorer. It's a 2/2. When at ETB, search my library for X Plains card, where X is the number of players who control more lands than you. That's 1. I'll play this Plains for turn, and I'll tap Oath of Gideon and it to crack this Wayfarer's Bauble. Put a basic into play.
Stop tapping things that shouldn't be tapped.
Look, it's what I do. They demand to be tapped. We'll move to end step. Commodore Guff will trigger, and Narset will go up to 2 counters.
No.
And I'll pass.
On your end step, I'm going to use Heliod's ability to make a 2/1 cleric. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play a swamp for turn. And I guess I should develop like everybody else. So I'm going to start by tapping 2. I'm going to replay my Jukai Naturalist. And then I'll tap 4 because of the discounted mana to play my commander, Onyxia Hand of Erebos. It's a 4/4 with Menace. Other enchantments I control have Menace. Whenever Onyxia enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 1 non-aura enchantment card from my graveyard and create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 3/3 black zombie in addition to its other types. So because it has entered the battlefield, I will indeed make a copy of Boon of the Spirit Realm. It's an enchantment with Constellation. Whenever Boon of the Spirit Realm or another enchantment enters the battlefield under my control, I can add a blessing counter to Boon. Creatures I control get +1/+1 for each blessing counter on Boon of Spirit Realm. It is also a copy of this card, so technically this card is exiled, and it is a 3/3 in addition to its other types. I now have 5 Devotion, because this is a copy. So that'll be 2, 3, 4, and 5 Devotion. I am going to go ahead and try to take a little bite out of your commander.
How little a bite?
It is a 3/2 and a 6 powered because of the Boon's ability.
Yeah, I don't like that very much. But I like it enough to not do anything about it. We'll throw the Explorer in front of the 2/1, and the Wizard's going to eat Heliod's Wrath.
Okay, so these two will trade. You'll trade with my 3/2, and that'll be my turn.
Well, there are entirely too few slivers on the board. Herald's Horn trigger. Not a sliver.
Dang, that's 3 misses.
Yeah, luckily we know you don't have any slivers in hand at all at this point.
And I'll pass the turn. No. I will start with a Soul Ring, and then I'll pay 1, 2, 3 for Realm Walker, which as a sliver will only cost 2. Let's take a look at the top card. This has got to be a sliver, right? Yeah. I will pay 1 green to cast Venom Sliver off the top of my library. Slivers I control have Death Touch, and I'm going to scry 1 since it matches my commander type. Yeah, we'll leave that there. I still have 1 floating from the Soul Ring, but I can't use it yet. I'll pay 1 to also cast Gale Rider Sliver off the top of my library. My slivers now have flying.
I've played 2 board wipe effects. At some point I have to stop being the policeman.
No, that's what blue, red does.
Well, police this. I'll pay 1, 2, and use the final floating from the Soul Ring to also cast Shifting Sliver off the top of my library. Slivers can't be blocked except by slivers. So you better have some flying slivers that have indestructible to be able to really block any of my stuff. Okay, that seems pretty good for me. I'm gonna pass the turn.
On your end step, I'm going to tap 1 to put a counter on my Mage Ring Network. Oh, that's nice. I love this land. It's Eldrazi Temple. It can tap for a colorless, or it can tap for 2 colorless. Only spend this mana to cast colorless Eldrazi spells or activate abilities of colorless Eldrazi, which conveniently my whole deck is colorless. So with that nice foray, we're going to tap this for 2 and be recasting my commander for 10. Zuladok Void Gorger.
That's the stuff.
Yes. I'm just going to pass the turn because it doesn't have haste.
All right. I feel like every time it comes around to me, there's a problem that I need to solve. I'm going to cast Spark Double as a copy of Commodore Guff. So we have 2 Commodore Guffs. Spark Double enters the battlefield as a copy of creature or planeswalker you control, except it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature, or an additional loyalty counter if it's a planeswalker. And importantly, it's not legendary. Spark Double is the perfect card in this deck. Now I have double stuff, Commodore Guff. We're going to hold off on putting the dice on that for now, because we're just going to need to change it in a second. We are going to cast a Deep Glow Skate. It's a fish, 3/3. When it ETBs, double the number of each kind of counter on any number of target permanents.
What?
Would you like to double my boon?
I very would not.
How about this Mage Ring Network? We like mana. Yes, we do.
Still no. However, I would like to double the number of counters on all my planeswalkers. So
Okay.
the original, the OG Commodore Guff is going to go up to 8. Narset is going to go up to 4. And the copy Commodore Guff is going to go up to 12.
Yikes.
Commodore Buff.
Commodore Buff indeed. All right, so we'll start by minusing Narset for 2. I will reveal to you that 1 Narset begets another. We'll reveal Narset of the Ancient Way. It's a planeswalker, plus to gain mana, 2 to loot away card hit thing, -6 to get emblem. That basically says win the game.
Okay.
Let's minus Commodore Guff the first.
We have Comrade Guff and Commodore Buff.
It's a real G.I. Joe episode. So off of that first Commodore Guff trigger, I'm going to draw 3 cards and you're all going to take 3. The second Commodore Guff is going to do the same. We're going to minus down to 9 and you're all going to take another 3 and I'll draw 3 more.
I am no longer the threat.
I'm the Slivers. How have I not been the threat yet?
I'm just scared until you put your commander out there. I don't even know what it does yet, but I'm sure it's bad if it's a 5-color sliver.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I'll play this Prairie Stream as land for turn and tap for a Talisman of Conviction, the mana rock. And we'll tap both of those for a Thrumming Bird. 1/1 flyer, when it deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. And I'll pass the turn.
All right, so who's got a board wipe?
I don't, but I can attack the planeswalkers, right?
Yep.
I have a substantial amount of enchantments, so I'll go ahead and pay 4 with my discount, and we're going to cast Eldest Reborn. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or a planeswalker on the first chapter. On chapter 2, each opponent will discard a card, and on chapter 3, I can put a creature card or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under my control.
Oh. I mean, easy decision for me. Gale Rodder Sliver. I don't think I need flying and unblockable.
An enchantment will come into play. I will also get to tick up my boon.
I'm going to have my commander go to my graveyard.
I feel like if I sack one of the creatures, it just lets you choose which of my planeswalkers to kill, so I'm going to make that choice for you. I'm going to sack the Narset.
Okay, I'm good to move to combat. I'm actually going to swing Heliod at Veggie, and these 3 are going to come at Commander Buff, the 9 toughness, and all of my enchantment creatures do have menace.
He is very buff. So all 3 of those coming at the Commandant?
Yes.
Do they all have vigilance?
My creatures have vigilance.
Oh.
Yeah.
And also on attack trigger here, my commander is going to put in an enchantment from my graveyard back into play. So I'm going to bring back the Binding of the Titans. It'll be a 3/3 copy, and we will re-trigger chapter 1. Everybody mills 3 cards.
Metalwork Colossus.
No slivers.
The other trigger that will happen when this comes into play is my boon will get an additional boon counter. So everything is +3/+3.
So what's that total coming at Commander Buff over here?
So this is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
So even if I double block one of them, he's still pretty dead.
Real dead.
Yep.
Then he's quite dead.
And Veggie blocks?
I kind of want these, but if everything is going to be so hard to block and kill, I think I'm just going to block it with this Venom Sliver. Nope, it's got Menace.
It has Menace.
I'm going to take 5.
Well, you would also take more here.
I'm going to take 8.
In response to no blocks, I'm going to tap 2. I'm going to flash in one more enchantment. Omen of the Sun. Omen of the Sun is a flash enchantment. When it comes into play, I'm going to make 2 1/1s. They're just little humans. They're not enchantments. They'll be soldiers. I can pay 3, sacrifice it, and scry. But the important thing is I'm going to get another Omen counter. So we're going to go up to 4. I felt like I was a little slow to begin with, but all of my enchantments can actually tangle with some Eldrazi's now. They got super big. Captain Buff will be extra dead, and Veggie, you will take 9 instead.
Oh, also you gain 2 life.
I'll gain 2 life from Omen of the Sun. Thank you very much.
Yep. 9.
All right. I will let Commander Guff die and reveal to you all that a Spark Double is in the graveyard, and there's an Eldest Reborn in play.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and also gain for my Jukai Naturalist. I'm going to gain 6 and go to 41. And I think I'm good for now.
Untap. Herald's Horn trigger. This is, in fact, a sliver. It's Firewake Sliver, which hastes and boosts slivers. That will go to my hand, and I will draw for turn.
We've been working together more in this game than we said we'd be going to war against each other.
Yeah, this is nothing like the books. All right, well, the card on the top of my library is not a sliver, so let's start by... I'm going to pay 2 for Nature's Lore. I'm going to grab a forest and shuffle my library. I'm going to put this Cinderglade onto the battlefield and check out what I got on top. Yes. We're about to do a whole lot of stuff.
You have a mana weft sliver out? Why are you counting your slivers like mana?
Well, I'm going to pay 1. Oh, look, here's a mana weft sliver.
What do you know?
What do you know? And then I'm going to tap 1, 2 for Firewake Sliver that I got off the Herald's Horn. My slivers now have haste, and I can pay 1 in sacrifice to give target sliver +2/+2. Firewake Sliver and Mana Weft Sliver. What more could I ask for? Play a sliver, tap it for mana, to play a sliver, to tap it for mana, to play a sliver, to tap it for mana, to play a sliver. Pay 1, 2, 3 to cast Cleaving Sliver off the top of my library. My slivers now get +2/+0, and I will scry from Path of Ancestry. We'll put that on the bottom, because that's not a sliver. I'm going to play Secluded Courtyard for turn. I'm going to choose Sliver, which means it taps for a mana of any color if I'm casting a sliver. I will pay 1, 2, 3 for Icon of Ancestry. I'm going to choose Sliver, which means creatures that are slivers get +1/+1, and I can pay 3, look at the top 3 of my library, reveal a sliver, and put it into my hand.
Jiminy Christmas. I'm scared of the unblockable ones, personally.
They're unblockable?
Yep.
Well, you can block them with your slivers.
Oh, that's right. You're a problem.
Yeah. I'm going to continue to be a problem. I'm going to tap 2 slivers for the Return of Hibernation Sliver. I can now bounce things back to my hand for 2 life. So not many, but
yeah, that's
I
not
can
a
save the
huge
relevant
problem.
ones. And I only have 1 card left in my hand, and I'm just going to lose it to Chapter 2 of the Eldest Reborn anyway. So I will also tap 1, 2 to cast Blade Sliver. So now all of my slivers also get an additional +1/+0.
Oh, thank gosh. When you said Blade Sliver, I was like, that sounds like First Strike. And I know they have Death Touch. Oh, God. But it's fine.
I think that only leaves me with 3 blockers, so I can't go to combat with my life at 11. I will pass the turn.
Okay. This was a tough decision for me to make, but I'm sticking to my original game plan before both of your boards exploded. I'm going to cast for 9, Artisan of Kozilek. One of the OGs, baby. It's a 10/9 Eldrazi creature, and when I cast this spell, I may return target creature card from my graveyard to the battlefield.
Oh.
It also has Annihilator 2, which means whenever this creature attacks, defending player sacrifices 2 permanents. So because my commander would have cost 16 to recast it, I thought tapping 9 and only having to fare one turn before I got to untap, I will choose to bring Zolodok Flight Gorger back to the battlefield.
Remember to turn the audio down a little bit.
This resolves, that resolves. I've got 2 creatures, so I could choose to block something menacing if I so desire. And that's about it, because that did cost 9 mana, so I will pass.
It's good recovery.
You guys have gotten too good at that.
Quick, tap your planeswalkers for mana.
Oh, I will.
I don't doubt it.
We'll tap for 𝚱𝙴𝙽𝙺 Sublime Artificer. Whenever I cast a non-creature spell, I make a 1/1 colorless servo. She would normally enter the battlefield with 5 loyalty counters, but because of the Oath of Gideon, she'll enter with 6. And I hate to do it, but I feel like I'm left with very little choice. We're going to tap my planeswalkers for possibly the last time this game and cast one of my favorite spells in Magic, Urza's Ruinous Blast. It's a legendary sorcery, which means I have to control a legendary creature or planeswalker in order to cast it, but the upshot is I get to exile all non-land permanents that are not legendary.
Ah!
Are there responses?
You just heard it.
Okay.
I don't think that's a question.
Yeah, I can't stop it from resolving. I'm
Priority,
just deciding
priority,
which
pass
things,
priority, pass
deciding
priority.
what things to bounce. I guess I need the Realm Walker back.
Pass priority?
I'm passing. I got nothing. Zvex has something. You have something?
I do.
Okay.
I also kind of want to see how you stop it with colorless mana.
The best instant that came out from Oath of the Gatewatch, Warping Whale. Counter target sorcery spell. Booyah. Just because I don't have blue spells in my deck doesn't mean I can't play counter magic. Take that, Airball.
Yes, that colorless counter that you didn't see coming.
That I just drew this turn. Whew.
I think you may live to regret that choice.
Me?
Oh.
Yes. Not from me. I just think that board needed to be dealt with dispatch. So I didn't put it in play because I sort of assumed that with no other blue at the table, it was going to resolve. But 𝚱𝙴𝙽𝙺 will actually make a servo token off of the cast trigger of Urza's Ruinous Blast. Let's minus Commodore Guff and go 2 deep. Everyone takes 2.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah, you can survive 5 more triggers of that planeswalker. You're welcome. There was 2.
I appreciate what you did for the board.
Just one of them is Commodore enough.
Oh.
That also happens to rhyme with Guff.
Okay.
Limericks by Veggie and 𝚱𝙬𝙬 coming to you.
Yeah. I mean, that one was a little Commodore rough, but we won't worry.
Okay. I'm going to minus 𝚱𝙽𝙺 and make that servo a copy of Deep Glow Skate. And then I'm going to play this Cascade Bluffs as my land for turn, and I will pass with open mana as a Commodore Bluff.
Oh!
Okay, guys. Commodore has had enough.
On my end step, Commodore Guff will trigger. 𝚱𝙽𝙺 is going to get another loyalty counter.
Let's go ahead and trigger some sagas. I can exile up to 2 creatures. Veggie 𝚱𝙬𝙬, you guys have the graveyard bits. All right, so Flying Sliver and Metalwork Colossus will be exiled. I will gain 2 life. My other trigger is every opponent discards a card. I'm also going to go ahead and crack the Omen of the Sun to scry 2. Good thing. I'll bottom those 2. Seriously? 3 lands in a row? It's enough.
Life is Commodore tough. Hey, did you hear me?
This show is nothing but fluff.
We got plenty more Commodore stuff.
Shoot me. All right, I'm going to tap just 2 because that's all I got to pay. For a Nyx Weaver. It is a 2/3 with reach. At the beginning of my upkeep, I mill 2, and I can also pay 3, exile it, and return target creature from my graveyard to my hand. That will trigger the boon, go up to 5. All of my creatures are +5/+5. So do I just kill Veggie? You can only block one of my things, right? Basically?
Right.
So at the very least, I want to make you have to chump your other slivers. I guess you could bounce them, but then you're also dead anyway.
I'll give you this deal. On my turn, all I plan to do, I want to play this really cool sliver that is in the command zone, and I will send all of my stuff here.
Whoa. I think you should just kill Veggie.
I will leave myself completely open and just deal a bunch of damage to the other side of the table.
Wow. And you have how many cards in hand? 0.
0.
That's a mighty fine deal.
There will be consequences if you take that deal.
I think you'll be dead.
Don't kill me. Kill the Commodore Guff. It's been rough. They need to be snuffed. Come on, we did this together. Leave the Commodore in the buff, as in a naked battlefield. We don't need anything out there, as in player removal.
This table is not ready for naked Commodore Guff.
It rhymed, okay?
All right. If Veggie's going to make the deal that he has to go alpha on the other sides of the table, I think I'm totally okay with that. With no cards in hand, I think I can let Veggie live. So with that in mind, I'm going to go to combat. Heliod and my commander, this actually has vigilance, is going to go to 𝚉𝙴𝙲𝙺𝙺. And these 4 creatures, my 2 tokens, and the boon and the Jukai Naturalist will go to Airball. With the attack trigger, I will get to put in a copy of the Omen of the Sun. I'll gain 2. Oops. And I'll make some more 1/1s. My boon will go up to 6. So you have 4 creatures, base power 5, 6, 7, and they each get +6. So an additional 24.
Okay. 𝚉𝙴𝙬𝙺, when you threaten consequences, what did you need? What did you need on your board right now to achieve those consequences?
I just need to not die.
Okay.
Like, I am very worried at this point, now that a deal has been brokered, that Veggie will have the power to take us both out after whatever blocks we make against NerdGirl's menacing attacks.
With vigilance. So gross.
NerdGirl thinks Veggie is going to help her take out me and 𝚉𝙴𝙬𝙺, but I know his weakness. I'm going to do something so cool that he won't be able to do anything but let me live. Veggie, if I do something really cool here, will you not put lethal damage on me?
Those are the magic words.
Great. Okay.
Whoa, you said everything though. But
I said I would send everything I've got to that side of the table.
Yes.
I guess that could all be 𝚉𝙴𝙬𝙺.
Before declaring blocks, I'm going to cast Repeated Reverberation. It's an instant. When I cast my next instant spell or sorcery spell or activate a loyalty ability, it happens twice. Actually, it happens 3 times. The copy happens twice.
You get a servo.
Yes, that's important. My blocks are going to be the 2 servos are going to jump in front of the boon, the Thrumming Bird, and the Deep Glow Skate are going to jump in front of the Naturalist.
Okay.
Now, before damage is assigned, I'm going to cast Guff Rewrites Histories. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing that's going to happen is we're going to get another servo token. Then this is going to get copied twice. What's going to get copied twice? Well, for each player, choose target non-enchantment, non-land permanent that player controls. Those permanents' owners shuffle them into their libraries. Each player who controlled one of those permanents exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card, put the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. So it's basically Chaos Warp on steroids for non-enchantments. So the first thing that's going to happen, we're going to go around the block. I'm going to give up my servo. I'm going to target one of your human tokens. Veggie, I'm going to target the sliver that bounces stuff to hand.
Okay.
And I'm going to target whatever you please on your board that's a legal target.
I guess I'll go with Soul Ring because I'd rather have it not enter untapped if I happen to draw it.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so shuffle in.
Yes, so I'm going to shuffle in my servo token. We'll do me first, because why not? I'm hoping that leaves Veggie with not enough to have to really hurt me and 𝚉𝙴𝙬𝙺. I'm hoping that it puts 𝚉𝙴𝙬𝙺 up to a pretty good board state that she will use to take down you, and hopefully it'll put a big board state for me that I can use this turn after.
Yeah, 𝚉𝙴𝙬𝙺 might go into some big stuff.
Yeah.
Team Nintendo is happening now.
I am sucking in the board and I am blowing out God knows what.
So Commodore Puff.
All right, let's cascade from the top of my library into the first non-land permanent we find, and we get a Johnny Steadfast. Johnny's a Planeswalker, +1 until end of turn. Target creature gets +1/+1 and First Strike and Vigilance and Lifelink. -2, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, on each creature I control, and a loyalty counter on each other Planeswalker. And the emblem says if a source would deal damage to you or a Planeswalker, prevent all of it but 1. So he'll come in on 4, but he'll actually come in on 5 because of the Oath of Gideon. Let's see what this soldier cascades into.
Plains, not doing it. Forest, not doing it. Hey, thanks for getting that off the top. We are going to be getting a Verduran Enchantress. It's a human druid, O2. Whenever I cast an enchantment, I draw a card.
Let's see. Land.
Congratulations.
Effective.
Your very own arcane signet.
No.
Put that land on the bottom in a random order, and now it's 𝚉𝙴𝙽𝙺's turn.
I got Mirage Mirror. I can pay 2 and have it become a copy of target artifact, creature, enchantment, or land until the end of turn.
All right, now let's go for round 2. Second copy, I'm going to sack this servo token. That's that soldier token, the haster, and again, whatever you please.
I will do the Worn Powers. Wait,
I should have attacked with more things.
You telling me you didn't plan for the Guffrey Writes
I will
reality
do the
play?
Times
Worn
3.
Power Stone because I think that seems fine.
Let's see what happens for copy number 2. We get a Gatewatch Beacon. Gatewatch Beacon's an artifact, ETBs with 3 loyalty counters on it. Taps for a white. Whenever a planeswalker ETBs under my control, if it has loyalty counters on it, I can move those loyalty counters from Gatewatch Beacon to that planeswalker.
Land. Not land. I got my own planeswalker. We've got Calyx Destiny's Hand. I can plus him to look at the top 4 cards of my library, reveal an enchantment, put that into my hand, and the rest in the bottom of my library in a random order. I can -3 to exile target creature or enchantment you don't control until this leaves the battlefield. And I can -7 to ultimate it, return all enchantment cards from my graveyard to the battlefield.
Okay, what did we hit for you?
This is a Lazotep sliver. Slivers I control have Afflict 2. So when they become blocked, the defending player loses 2 life. And whenever a non-token sliver I control dies, I amass slivers too. That's cool.
Oh, wow. This is the first time we're getting the amass outside of the one that they changed it for, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. All right, 𝚉𝙴𝙽, what do you get?
I will get a Meteor Golem. So that's pretty cool. When it enters the battlefield, I get to destroy target non-land permanent an opponent controls. I am going to use Meteor Golem's enter the battlefield trigger to blow up MTGNerdGirl's commander.
Onyxia. She's dead.
So for the last instance of Guffrey Writes history, we'll get rid of my Thrumming Bird, and we'll get rid of NerdGirl's Soldier token, and we'll get rid of Veggie's Unblockable Sliver. And once again, 𝚉𝙴𝙽, whatever you like.
I do like the idea of Chaos warping into Meteor Golem again and possibly getting rid of something else that's a nasty.
All right, so here we go for the last copy of Guff. We get Elspeth Sun's Champion. That's a pretty good one. +1, create 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. -3, destroy all creatures with power 4 or greater. -7, the emblem is you get an emblem with creatures you control, get +2/+2, and have flying. She would ordinarily enter with 4, but because of Oath of Gideon, she gets 5. And when Elspeth enters play, we'll put another counter on the Gatewatch Beacon. So that's it for me for Guff Rewrites history. Let's rewrite NerdGirl's board.
Sandworm Convergence.
That's a big one.
I don't know what it does yet, but we are going to go up a boon counter because it is an enchantment. It's an enchantment that says creatures with flying cannot attack you or planeswalkers you control. And at the beginning of my end step, I can create a 5/5 green worm creature token.
Okay, I need a big old sliver here. Oh, what is this?
Not a sliver.
Not a sliver, but this is Rucaramel.
I'm more of a butterscotch guy myself.
Right. This is Rucaramel Biologist. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. I assume I want to pick slivers. Slivers you control and non-token creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to their other types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. I can then pay 3 and tap it to create a 1/1 colorless sliver creature token. So I can make all of my stuff slivers everywhere.
My turn. Oh, I got Soul of New Phyrexia. It's a 6/6 trample Phyrexian avatar. I can pay 5 mana to make permanents I control gain indestructible until end of turn, or pay 5 mana to exile the same creature from my graveyard to make the same effect. Thank you for more blockers.
All right, so at long last, Guff has rewritten history, and we can go to damage if there's nothing else people want to do.
Okay. I'm good. So my things were all blocked. The only creature you have left is the skate that is going to bite the dust. And the life gain on this will be 9. And then Zbax will take 12. And I guess I will go to my second main. I do have a Planeswalker here.
Because you know I'm about to do this.
What?
I'm about to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I will go ahead and plus Calyx, and I will look at the top 4 cards and reveal an enchantment and put it in my hand. I'm going to reveal Starfield of Nyx. At the beginning of my upkeep, I may return target enchantment card from my graveyard to the battlefield. As long as I control 5 or more enchantments, each other non-aura enchantment I control is a creature in addition to its other types. It has base power and toughness equal to its mana value. And before the end of my turn, I'm going to play a Frozen Verge. It allows me to pay 2, tap, crack it, and get both a forest and a plains. And it comes into play tapped. And that would be the end of my turn.
Okay. I'm still here. I'm still alive. Herald's Horn will trigger. This is not a sliver. I will just draw it. I'm going to start. I'm going to pay 3. And I'm going to activate Icon of Ancestry. I'm going to look at the top 3 cards and find a sliver, which is going to be really hard to whiff right now, I think. I'm going to grab this sliver called Constricting Sliver. Slivers you control have when this creature enters the battlefield, you may exile target creature an opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield.
No!
All of my slivers are now O-rings.
Oops.
I do think for me to ever have a chance in this, I've got to get rid of at least your +7/+7 to the board.
I would like to roll the tapes back, because I don't think that's how this deal was worded.
I worded it very specifically that way, and I can't wait to edit it. I'll give you this deal. I'm going to continue to block and kill. Oh, you know what would be a good idea? You take single target removal.
Agreed.
That's it.
That's a mighty fine deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's how you worded it, but fine. Okay.
Oh, and that is it's a token copy, so it does not even, right.
It goes away.
Yeah. I'm going to then pay 5, and I'm going to cast my commander. It's Sliver Gravemother. The legend rule doesn't apply to slivers I control. Each sliver in my graveyard has Encore X, where X is its mana value, and this card itself also has Encore 5. So any of my slivers I can return from the graveyard for their cost, and they all attack you on that turn. That is going to O-ring something. Oh, yeah. I'm going to hit the Soul of New Phyrexia.
It's probably a better choice.
Yes, I would like you to not make your permanents indestructible whenever you want. I'll play Command Tower for turn. I'll pay 2 to cast Hollowhead Sliver off the top of my library. Sliver creatures have tap, discard a card, draw a card. So yeah, now they also all rummage. We're gonna O-ring something. I'm gonna eat that Artisan of Kozilek.
In response, I'm going to pay 2 and make Mirage Mirror a copy of Artisan of Kozilek so that I have a 10/9 blocker.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'm going to go to combat. So my attacks, I'm going to send Realm Walker and Blade Sliver at Elspeth, because I'd like to not get wrathed. I'm going to send also Cleaving Sliver and Lazotep Sliver at Airball, and Venom Sliver and Manawef Sliver at Zbex.
I would like to do potentially cool things with my commander, and your slivers have Death Touch, so I will declare no blockers, even though I made my mirror into a creature.
This sliver is going to hop in front of the 8-power attacker.
Okay, so that looks like a dead Elspeth. You will take 6, and you will take 10.
Okay.
And I am very satisfied with that turn. I will pass.
I would like to put the game in my favor. And because I am casting a spell with a subtype Eldrazi, All is Dust costs 7 mana. It's a sorcery where each player sacrifices all permanents they control that are 1 or more colors.
Why are you countering spells and wiping boards? I feel like that's my job.
Well, you've been rubbing off on me. It's what happens when we sit next to each other.
That's true. You come on decked out, you improve yourself.
By Heliod, all permanents that have 1 or more colors.
I will float a colorless and a white.
That's everything.
And before you start scooping up all of your permanents, let me just remind you, this creates a cast trigger for Cascade to Cascade. So this is technically on the stack right now. So let me show you what else will resolve before All Is Dust does. So 6 or less. We've got a Fire Streaker. Equipped creature has double strike with an equipped cost of 2, which happens to be the mana I have remaining. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. We've got another Cascade trigger before All Is Dust resolves. We'll go past the lands. We've got Dark Steel. Nope, that's too big. Gotta keep going. Not of This World is also too big. Hey, I get my own Planeswalker too. It's Ugin, the Ineffable. It's a Planeswalker with colorless spells I cast cost 2 less to cast. I can +1 to exile the top card of my library face down, look at it, create a 2/2 colorless spirit creature token. When that token leaves the battlefield, I put the exiled card into my hand, and -3 to destroy target permanent that's 1 or more colors. Enters with 4 loyalty.
Man, there's going to be so many.
Loyalty dice back, please.
You won't need them
And
very long.
planeswalkers.
A purple one.
So needy.
I've got to be on brand.
Take both.
Forget Eldrazi Winter. It might be time for Eldrazi Summer.
Okay, now let's...
Now All Is Dust can resolve.
All right, so my copies actually just straight get exiled. So those will be no more, but everything else will go into the graveyard.
And I prevented that Phyrexian saga from ulting.
So there are 2 significant things that will happen when you do this. 1, you are going to get these cards back. And 2, Lazotep Sliver will trigger for every sliver that I control. So I'm going to amass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I will have a 20/20 sliver left on board.
I will pay 2 to equip Fire Shrieker to Zulatok Void Gorger. And I'm going to attack Airball for lethal commander damage because of the double strike.
Yep, I have taken 7 already. That puts me to 21. I have no effects.
All right.
Dead!
How can I be mad at dying at the hands of a player who countered spells, wiped boards, and cast planeswalkers, even if she did it without using any colored mana?
So in my second main phase, I don't like you having a creature that can do stuff. So I'm going to -3 Ugin to 1 to destroy target permanent that's 1 or more colors, and feel real good about potentially my next turn. Pass to you, Nerd Girl.
You did way too many things, and we are now dead. My path to exile is already gone. The only thing I can do is pay 7 for my commander. And when it comes into play, I can bring back an enchantment, and I'll bring back Eldest Reborn. And that makes each opponent sacrifice a creature or a planeswalker. It's also a 3/3 in addition. And I mean, that will take a chunk out of her.
I'm going to choose... Oh, veggies first. Okay. I'm going to choose to sacrifice Soul of New Phyrexia, so that way I'll still be able to copy Mirage Mirror and still be able to give things indestructible if I need from my graveyard.
Okay. That would be the end of my turn.
I'm gonna pay 2 and cycle this Scattered Groves to try and draw an answer. Sure, that doesn't do it. I will pay 1 for a Gemhide Sliver. Yeah, mana. I'll pay 3 to activate Icon of Ancestry. Oh hey, friend, it's not helpful now. I'm gonna reveal this Hibernation Sliver.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I guess we'll play that.
You could just block and bounce it forever. It'll save you for a few turns.
Yeah. I did use the Path of Ancestry, so I'll scry. 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. That's not enough to do things. I will pass the turn.
First, we want more information, so let's go ahead and plus Ugin. I get to exile the top card of my library face down and look at it. I've got a 2/2 colorless spirit. When it leaves play, I'll get this exiled card in my hand. My colorless spells cost 2 less to cast. So for 3, I will cast Forsaken Monument. Colorless creatures I control get +2/+2. Whenever I tap a permanent for a colorless, I add an additional colorless, and whenever I cast a colorless spell, I gain 2 life.
Oh my gosh.
Tap for 2 and make Mirage Mirror a copy of Artisan of Kozilek. So now it's also a 10/9 with Annihilator 2. Love that. I will move to combat. I'm going to send Zolodoc, Void Gorger, over to Veggiewagonyee. The first Artisan of Kozilek over to Veggiewagonyee. The regular second Artisan of Kozilek over to NerdGirl. Spirit cannot attack.
Yeah, I'll sack 2 lands.
Yeah, I'll sack 2 lands as well. And I will say no blocks.
Okay, so you're going to take 12.
Yeah, so those are my blocks. I guess Hibernation here and Gemhide here, and I have no cards in hand, so I am going to bounce them, going down to 5.
Okay, still got some damage in. Pass the turn.
All right. My Saga is going to go up, and each opponent will discard a card.
Oh yeah.
I will discard Perilous Vault.
Bye, Hibernation Slaver. I can't use you anymore.
Zbex is at 11, and I have 7 power.
She does have 1 blocker.
I have Menace. It's very close to being able to kill her. Oh. So what I will do is I'm going to just pay 3. I'm going to cast Satyr Enchanter. Whenever I cast an enchantment, I get to draw a card.
You could always kill Veggie.
I kind of need the meat shield.
Yeah, I have 5 meat right now.
Yeah. Should get that looked at.
I'm going to go ahead and go to combat, and I am going to attack Zbex for 4, 5, 6, and 7 damage. When I attack, I'm going to bring the Sandworm Convergence back into play as a 3/3 copy. Creatures with flying cannot attack me, and at the end of my turn, I get to make a worm.
Okay, I can't block because of Menace. So I will just take 7 and go to 4.
Oh, so close. All right, and I will move to my end step and I will make a worm. So I have 3 blockers at present. Thanks to my commander, this board got real big real quick. I should be able to just kind of kill a player every single turn from here on out.
All right, I've totally got this. Herald's Horn trigger. That's a sliver. It's a sliver Hive Lord.
Oh.
I'm gonna put that in my hand and draw a card. All right, I'll play a Forest for turn. I am gonna, I guess, start by activating Icon of Ancestry to see if I can find another cool sliver. I'm gonna reveal Taunting Sliver. Slivers I control have, when it enters, goad target creature an opponent controls.
Oh, that's cool.
And in my moment of need, I pull a sliver that can goad. In any other situation, if this card didn't exist, I would just be dead.
All right, yeah, then I'm just going to cast that Taunting Sliver for 3. When it enters, it's going to goad the Artisan of Kozilek. And then I will pay 5 and cast the Sliver Hive Lord. My slivers are indestructible, and I will also goad Zolodoc. I'll scry 1 and leave that on top and pass the turn.
On your end step, I'm going to add 4 to my mana pool and use 3 of it to activate Bonder's Enclave. I can do so because I control a creature with power 4 or greater. I will draw a card. And with the remaining floating mana, I will pay 1 and add another counter to my Mage Ring Network. All right, I'll go to my turn. Well, let's definitely get another spirit out there for what might come next. I get to exile this card and get another spirit. Add 4 with 1 floating to activate Bonder's Enclave again. I will play a land for the turn. Pay 2 for Thran Dynamo. Whenever I cast a color spell, I gain 2 life. I will pay 4 for Duplicant. It's an artifact creature shapeshifter. When it enters the battlefield, I may exile target non-token creature. As long as a card exiled with Duplicant is a creature card, Duplicant has the power, toughness, and creature types of the last card exiled with Duplicant. I definitely want to get rid of your commander so that I can...
That says as long as it remains exiled with Duplicant.
Yeah.
So I choose to put it in my command zone, which means it would die.
No, because the
Or-
duplicate has a power.
Okay, so that just becomes a blank creature.
Yeah.
And I will gain 2 life from casting a colorless spell. Pay 2. I think Artisan of Kozilek is still my best choice here. It's still the biggest creature, so Mirage Mirror will become a copy of Artisan of Kozilek. I need this for insurance, so I will move to combat and let my 1 floating mana disappear.
Okay.
Nerd Girl scares me the most, and I think it's ironic if Veggie ends up winning. So considering I have to send these 2 over there, that's an easy decision. I don't know why that took me so long, but I'm going to attack Nerd Girl with my commander and Artisan of Kozilek. I will send the copy of Artisan of Kozilek. I could just make you get rid of all of your lands. Let's go. I'm sending them all at Nerd Girl.
Well, I'm going to start. We're going to crack this and shuffle and find some lands, an extra land to get rid of, because now I got to get rid of more, huh? Plains and a forest. I will sack 3 lands and a worm. And I have to chump.
That is why I sent them all at you. It's funny if I've got blockers for Veggie, so
I will take 20. You said those are
12.
So I'll take 24. I'll block the commander damage. Top decking the thing to kill my commander was clutch there.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm hellbent. I will pass the turn.
My copy is going to explode on itself. It's going to get a creature or a planeswalker out of a graveyard. We'll go ahead and get my planeswalker back. We're going to get Calyx. I think the only way I can possibly survive is if Veggie kills Zvex. So I'm going to O-ring one of the blockers, and that's going to be the Duplicant.
So that's what, under the Sandworm Convergence?
Then I'll just play what I drew for turn, sit this Harvest Hand. It's a 1/2 enchant creature. Whenever I cast an enchantment spell, I get to gain 1 life and draw a card. And then I will pass the turn and make another worm.
You have 2 hands. You have Destiny and Harvest, but I don't think they're gonna get you there. Okay, Herald's Horn, now's your time.
To whiff.
It's a Bone Splitter Sliver.
Oh,
I'm gonna put that in my hand.
That's fine.
And then I'll draw for turn. I'm just gonna play a bunch of slivers. There's Gemhide Sliver back again. We're going to goad your Artisan of Kozilek. I'll pay 1, 2, 3 and cast Bone Splitter Sliver. We're gonna goad Zul'Adok. And I'm going to play Clot Sliver. My slivers have pay 2 regenerate this permanent. And I will goad one of your spirits.
Which one?
We'll do this one. I'm going to scry 1 and put that on the bottom. Pay 3 and activate Icon of Ancestry. I'm going to put these on the bottom and reveal Hatchery Sliver. It has Replicate 2, so when I cast the spell, I can copy it for each time I paid its Replicate cost, and each Sliver spell you cast has Replicate with the cost equal to its mana cost. I'm going to pay 1 for Hatchery Sliver and pay 2 for the Replicate cost, so I'll get 2 copies of this that come into play. I will goad the remaining spirit, and I might as well goad the Sandworm Convergence.
At this point, I've taken way too many Annihilator triggers, and I don't think there's a way for me to get back into this game. So I'm going to have to decide whose team I'm on, Slivers or Aliens. So Zvex, I have kind of a deal to make with you.
All right, well, let's hear it.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I can survive.
My creatures are goated, so I can't make too many deals.
Not all of them. Not the like copy, right?
Yeah.
I will also go to combat. I'm going to send an 8/6 and a 6/4 indestructible at Nerd Girl.
So, okay, so now that Veggie is hellbent and attackers are declared, I, Zbex, would like to make a deal with you which would prevent Veggie from killing you, possibly on the crackback. So if you don't attack me with everything, and if you don't go gung-ho with your other thing, I can kill everything of Veggie's that cost, it would be kill yours too, everything that's 2 CMC or less.
I'm okay with that. If that's, I accept I don't know what's in it, the deal for me, except I guess living.
Yeah. Well, I just don't want the slivers to win. Like if honestly, if I'm going to die and I have to choose between the slivers or the aliens, bring on the aliens, baby. Let's go. So in order to make this deal work, I need 2 lands to survive, and I need enough. So I need to not sack these. I need enough to chump and sack your stuff. So I'll need 2 sack options and to not be dead. So I'm going to block the Sandworm Convergence to your Sliver Hive Lord, which will ultimately get you back your duplicate. And then on my turn, if I can survive your Goad Swing, I will remove Veggie's 2 CMC and yours, or less creatures, and hopefully that'll be enough so Veggie can't kill you on the crackback.
And then it'll just be a heads-up game between us.
No, then I'll be dead, because I will have no more mana.
I accept this deal.
Okay.
So I will block the Sliver Hive Lord, and I will take the 6. And maybe that's enough to survive 1 creature. My Sandworm will die. You will get duplicate back.
When duplicate enters the battlefield, I will choose to exile Sliver Hive Lord because Indestructible is something I can't deal with, considering I discarded my Perilous Vault to your Saga turns ago.
Because it is now a sliver, it does tap for mana, get +2/+0, and can regenerate for 2.
Oh, thank you.
All right, I mean that's my turn. I'm tapped out. I'm hellbent.
On your end step, I'm going to add some mana and put another counter on Mage Ring Network just in case I need lots of mana. Okay, I don't think sacking Ugin right now is good. I would rather just have potentially more blockers. Exile this card with another spirit token on top of it. There's no success like excess. I'm gonna cast Endless One. I'm tapping a total of 12 mana. The colorless spell is discounted by 2, so I get to then cast Endless One for X equals 14, which will trigger Zuladok Void Gorger to cascade twice. So Endless One has not yet entered the battlefield. We're going to resolve our cascade triggers first. Let's see what we hit. Oh, my Worn Power Stone is back. Sweet. It enters tapped. So I gain 2 from casting Worn Power Stone. Now let's get my second cascade trigger. It's an Everflowing Chalice. It's a artifact that when it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, it has a charge counter on it for each time it was kicked. I don't really care about that right now. It taps for a mana. So I got lots of mana stuff, which is cool. I get to cast it, so I'll gain 2 more life. And then I will be resolving Endless One, which I should get the cast life from that as well. So now, boom, I got some more stuff going on.
So I think we've got to see if I survive to help the aliens win, although I don't know if I need to.
I could, though, see if I could potentially draw another card and see if it's exciting, which I like the idea of. Activate Bonder's Enclave to draw a card. I will tap 2 and play Solemn Simulacrum for 2. I will gain 2 life. When it enters the battlefield, I may search my library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and when it dies, I draw a card. Before going to combat, I'm going to tap Mage Ring Network, removing a storage counter to make Mirage Mirror a copy of Artisan of Kozilek. Then I will move to my combat step. Nerd Girl, I've got 4 goated creatures coming at you. Veggie, I will send Mirage Mirror and Duplicant to you with the Annihilator 2 trigger.
Great. Let's sack some permanents.
I'm going to sack 1 land and my Planeswalker.
All right, there's a Fellwar Stone and a Sunken Hollow.
I will block the 2 biggest things and take 4.
8. Everything is +2/+2.
Oh, sure. That still leaves me alive. Wow.
I have to block because any of these kill me, since that is a sliver. I'll block the Artisan with Clot Sliver and the duplicate with Gemhide Sliver.
Okay, so none of my stuff dies. Your stuff dies. Nerd Girl takes 8, goes to 1. Veggie takes nothing. I pass my turn. I am hellbent.
Okay, so now I did top deck a land.
No.
Oh!
Okay, well let's just lock it up.
Yeah.
And let's get to the next game, and we're gonna tap exactly for Culling Ritual. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. Add black or green for each permanent destroyed this way.
Yep. That's a bunch of my stuff.
When these 2 tokens, when all 3 of these tokens leave the battlefield, I will get all 3 of these exiled cards into my hand. Everflowing Chalice leaves as well.
So how many things? It does not
7,
matter. I have no white mana to cast.
4.
8.
Both the cards in my hand are white.
I don't think there is a card that gets me out of this.
You can kill me.
Go to my upkeep. Herald's Horn will trigger. That is not a sliver. I'm just going to draw it. I'm going to pay 5. And this is at least one last thing this deck can do still. I'm going to give my Sliver Grave Mother an encore. So this will be exiled from my graveyard. Goodbye, Commander. I'll make 2 token copies of it. One that has to attack each of you, and then they are sacrificed at end of turn. Yeah, and you know what? One last hurrah for the Hibernation Sliver, which I will also encore. All of these will goad all of your creatures, but one of us will be dead anyway, so you'll just be able to swing them at me. I'll go to combat. One of each of these swings at each of you, and these will also go to you, Zbex.
I can block without dying, right?
You should be able to. So
if I block the biggest thing.
You only have to worry about these. This is the biggest thing. Then there is still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16
You're counting
damage.
total?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The Sliver still got it.
Wow. I did not see that one coming.
The Slivers delivered. With the power that was packed into all of these decks, it was anybody's game, but you've got to give the Slivers a round of applause. You know, because Encore.
I really didn't think after my All Is Dust that my other 2 opponents would get as many turns as they did. And I really can't wait to see how many of these new cards that we got to show off in this game show up in Legacy.
I'm glad my enchantment deck got to do some really fun stuff. I feel like the thing I was missing was some sort of value generator, something that allows me to draw cards, which we definitely saw a bunch of things get milled. So I think with one more card like that, I definitely could have closed out this game.
That game was great. I can't get enough of Commodore Guff. And stuff. Crowd's tough.
We hope you guys enjoyed this early access look at the Commander Masters precons. It's important to note that these come out August 4th. So make sure you guys leave us a comment down below and let us know which decks you're most excited about. And if you'd like to check out the product, you can use the link in our description.
That way, Wizards lets us keep making these videos.
And now, a quick moment to thank the sponsors that make this possible.
A big thank you to Wizards of the Coast and the MTG Ambassador Program for making these exclusive early access videos possible.
And if you need a little deck building inspiration, make sure you head over to EDHRec, where they have everything you need to fit your budget and style.
Ultimate Guard is the industry leader in MTG accessories. We are very excited about this partnership because we love their stuff and we know that you will too.
Link in the description.
There's a link in the description and use it.
And lastly, if you would like to support our content more directly, head on over to our Patreon. We have a ton of exclusive perks for you guys, like signed tokens, spell table games, and even deck submissions for us to play here on the show.
And of course, if you liked the video, click like. And if you really liked it, hit subscribe. We'll see you next time on Decked Out.